Hello, human family. How are you? I really missed you guys, and welcome to 2022. This is utterly amazing that I'm still here in 2022. I can't believe it. I never thought I would get this far. I've been here a long time. My God, 2022. And that I'm still sane and I'm not completely crazy. And I hear some of you out there saying, I don't know about that, Darren. But I'm so glad you guys are here. I got a really good show for you today. We're going to use Antonio Brown as the muse, as the example of why it is so important to detach from narcissistic sociopath people and to stop trying to save everyone. Has an empath and has a codependent, and I am certainly both. I know that I have a need to help and to save and to trust and to be good and nice to people. That is not a good recipe for living. It really isn't, especially when you're coming out of narcissistic abuse. You have to choose who you bond with, who you try to help. And that goes against everything that we've been trained and conditioned to do has codependence. But it is so important that we stay aware of that and that we don't just respond or react to people that are in need, to people that are playing as the victim, people that are doing crazy things. Does that make sense? And if you're new to my channel, Fully Alive is committed to helping people heal after narcissistic abuse and build healthy relationships with themselves and others. I talk about everything that has to do with narcissism. My channel is devoted to helping you become fully alive again, to laugh again, to love again, to live again. These are all the things that narcissists and toxic people drain out of us. And to be fully alive again, we have to be committed to heal again. We have to be committed to heal for the first time in our lives, probably. To take a deep look at everything that has happened to us, to take a deep look of all the people that have been around us in our lives, from our parents to our siblings to our in-laws to friends, you name it. It's putting your entire life under the microscope, and just as importantly, being honest with yourself about the outcome and the things that you discover. And being fully alive means that you can laugh again authentically. You can love again authentically. And you can live again authentically without the good opinions of others. It may be the first time in your life that you're living for you, that you don't allow other people to dictate your life and how you see the world, and most of all, how you see yourself. Does that make sense? So before we dive into Antonio Brown, the reason I'm using this, so you're very clear, is to show us tangible reasons why we cannot save dysfunctional, narcissistic people. Number two, how to utilize this information on our path to becoming fully alive again. Okay? So let's dive into it. Let's take a look at a few clips of Antonio Brown and his self-destructive narcissistic ways.
Into it. Number 13, passing gas in Doc's face. No one likes to take a Windy City Rumbler right in the face, especially while they're working, and especially when you're a freaking doctor. Well, apparently Antonio Brown doesn't care, because when he eats a lot of fiber, he just can't control his flatulence. AB's former doctor was once a victim of an AB toxic gas raid, and it was actually caught on camera.
Those are bodybuilders, and this is pretty freaking low. gotta stay away. Damn, bad. Damn.
A friend recorded Brown passing gas in Dr. Victor Prisk's face. Prisk also accuses Brown of failing to pay his bills, which is another dumb move from AB.
So not only is this delinquent not to pay the doctor, but to be that rude and immature and fart in a professional's face on camera, and you are a professional athlete, not only representing your team, your city and state, but representing yourself as a man. Do you see the immaturity there? The lack of adulthood? To fart in your doctor's face, then not to pay them? That's the type of crazy making and disrespect that narcissistic people do. Come on, man. Come on, man. If that's not a narcissistic move, I don't know what is. So that's a major red flag.
Number 11, quitting on his Steelers teammates. Both Brown and Ben Roethlisberger deserve blame for breaking up the Killer Bees. Yes, Ben didn't need to be so critical of his teammates, but seeing how big a troublemaker Brown has been throughout his career, it's amazing that Roethlisberger was able to stay patient with him for all those years. No matter whose side you're on, we can all probably agree that nobody should ever quit on their team during the season. Brown did, though, leading up to Pittsburgh's Week 17, 2018 home game against the Cincinnati Bengals. A must-win contest in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. Reports outline that Roethlisberger and Brown clashed during a practice, with the star receiver throwing the football at the direction of his quarterback before leaving. He skipped the rest of the team's practices that week, leaving Mike Tomlin no choice but to bench him. The Steelers won the game anyway, but their season ended when the Baltimore Ravens clinched the AFC North with a victory over the Cleveland Browns. Still, Brown owed it to his teammates to show up and play the final game. This was an organization that drafted Brown before turning him into a star, and he quit on them and left behind a complicated legacy in Pittsburgh. Brown was unquestionably going to have his number retired by the Steelers at the time. But now, we're sure this historic and iconic organization will do all they can to forget about him. He doesn't deserve any post-career honors from this team after quitting on them and forcing his way out.
You see, this could be considered a discard. Narcissist people, when they realize that you're down and out or that you really need them, that's when they have a chance to hurt you the most. That's when they seize the opportunity to do maximum damage. You see, there was absolutely no loyalty between Antonio and his fellow teammates. He didn't give a shit about these gentlemen. And he took the opportunity to hurt them when they needed him the most. No loyalty. Maximizing opportunity to hurt someone at a deeper level. These are all signs of a malignant narcissist. This is another red flag. It is not looking good. I really believe that this man is probably a malignant narcissist.
Royce. In October 2018, Channel 11 News, WPXI, was able to obtain a series of strange police reports involving Brown. Officers of the Sunny Isles Beach Police Department responded to a call from the Pro Bowl wideout on April 25, 2018. Brown told authorities that his Rolls Royce had been stolen. The police report outlines that when officers arrived at his home, Brown opened the door and said, "I found the car." He then closed the door, and police reportedly failed to gain contact with Brown again about the incident. So who knows what happened there? Was Brown just playing a game? Did he forget that he left the car somewhere? Did a friend or family member borrow it without telling him? Either way, Brown didn't give police full details on how he found the car, so the whole thing was just kind of weird. Number 9.
When you understand a narcissist, there is nothing weird about this. These people are constantly thirsty, constantly seeking narcissistic supply. Narcissistic supply is attention, admiration, someone validating their existence by focusing in on them, having a conversation with them, being concerned about them. Any kind of human activity and ability to manipulate and gaslight or harm. That is what these people live for. It is like heroin. It is a must. It is like oxygen. They cannot survive without narcissistic supply. And it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. They are going to get theirs. They will do anything. I've had narcissists in my life who just checked themselves into the hospital for no reason to get the attention of the nurses, or literally harmed themselves, or made up crazy stories about something or someone to draw attention and sympathy and or admiration. These people will not stop at anything. That's why they create so much chaos in your life and exhaust you. And by doing that, they start to erode your sanity and your sense of self and your ability to focus on the things that matter most in your life.
Super kicking Spencer Lanning. The Pittsburgh Steelers hosted the Cleveland Browns in Week 1 of the 2014 season, and though it was an exciting back-and-forth shootout, AB stole the spotlight entirely with a dirty move. Brown was returning a punt in the second quarter, and he looked to have a fairly clean path to the end zone. Instead, he switched gears and tried hurdling over Brown's punter Spencer Lanning, but instead of hurdling him, Brown wound up kicking Lanning square in the face. Brown was hit with a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty, plus a mere $8,200 fine. After that, Brown never super kicked a punter in the face again, so at least he learned his lesson in that regard.
Now, this is very revealing. Narcissists have to fight the evilness that's within them. And often the demon takes over when you least expect it. This man had a straight, linear line into the end zone. All he had to do was keep running straight, and it was a guaranteed touchdown. But the darkness in him, the evilness, said, no, I'm going to go towards the middle of the field to go boot one of the weakest players on the opposite team, the punter, in the face. Now, why would someone do this? Narcissists always go after the lower fruit when they want to gaslight, not when they want a relationship, but when they want to gaslight or hurt someone, they look for the most vulnerable people, meaning if you're stressed or if you're depressed or if you're having a hard time in life, all of us are vulnerable at different times and different stages of our life. The punter is usually the weakest or the smallest person on a football team. They're not the alpha on the team. So what does he do? I'm going to go jump kick one of them in the face. Why? Because I'm evil. Because I'm a fire starter. That's what I do. That's who this man is. He's off his rocker, but he's cognizant of the things that he does. That's why he chose to jump kick a punter and no one else on the opposite team but the weakest one.
Facebook Live streaming Steelers locker room. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs on the road in the 2016 AFC Divisional Round, punching a trip to the AFC Championship game against the longtime rival New England Patriots. In the NFL, teams have a simple rule which doesn't need any reminding. What's said in the locker room stays in the locker room. But Brown was so excited about this win that he streamed the Steelers post-game celebration on Facebook Live, and the world got to hear head coach Mike Tomlin drop some unkind comments about the Patriots. Tomlin can be heard referring to the Patriots as an expletive term that starts with the letter A. Tomlin also said the Steelers would be ready for their expletive, and as you'd imagine, that kind of pissed off the Patriots. Pittsburgh was not ready to handle Tom Brady and company as the Patriots cruised to an easy 36-17 victory, so Tomlin didn't look so smart in saying such harsh things about the Patriots. Mind you, those comments were supposed to stay in the locker room. The Steelers hit Brown with a $10,000 fine, but the embarrassment and the crushing defeat to Pittsburgh was really what mattered most here. Brown put a ton of eggs on the faces of this prideful organization. Not cool, AB.
Do you see the pattern taking place here? Once again, this man betrays his team, his coach, his players, and creates chaos. Either we're contributing to our environments and to our relationships, or we're contaminating them. This man has no loyalty, and he broke a code of honor between men, between a team that's almost like soldiers going to war. There is no loyalty there. He's dishonest. You can't trust him. He's trying to bring chaos and pain. He's trying to cause harm. Every team that this man has gone to, he has damaged people. And these are the things that we know about. God only knows what he's done to people individually, and the things that he says at critical times, and the gaslighting and the manipulation. Remember, a narcissist will not only steal an hour, they'll steal a second. They'll contaminate and poison a second. They'll try to get in your head and gaslight you to erode your sense of self, your self-esteem, your dignity. And be it 10 seconds, a half hour, an hour, a week, a month, a team, an individual, a stranger, a friend, a lover. All that they do is destroy. They are the enemy of everything that is good, everything that is positive. These people are not fully human. There is some dark energy in them, and I mean dark not by pigmentation, don't be stupid. I mean a negative force within them that seeks to destroy everything around them. This happens on the macro, in the micro.
AB. Number 5, frostbite incident. Brown's brief stint with the Oakland Raiders was loaded with controversy and strange incidents, but his frostbite saga is something you'd expect to see in a science fiction film, not in national sports lines. In August 2019, reports said that Brown suffered frostbite after entering a cryotherapy machine in France. Brown wasn't wearing proper footwear while in the machine, which led to frostbite on both of his feet. Brown had to miss some practice sessions as he dealt with the injury, and that was pretty much the beginning of the end of his tenure in Oakland. Number 4, temper over league helmet. Brown wore the Shutt Air Advantage helmet in his career, but the company had stopped building those models years ago. The Shutt Air Advantage is not certified by the National Athletic Equipment Reconditioners Association, so Brown wasn't allowed to wear it any longer. This did not sit well with Brown, and he responded by threatening to retire. The Raiders tried accommodating Brown by finding different helmet models for him, but AB wouldn't wear anything they presented. Brown filed a pair of grievances against the NFL, but neither were successful. Sure enough, he got over his tantrum and rejoined the Raiders with a new helmet.
Do you see the pattern for the need of attention? Did you see the smile on his face with frostbitten feet? And do you know how much stress that caused through his organization and the people that had invested millions of dollars in him, and what that was doing to a team? And it is my belief that he enjoyed every second of their stress and anxiety. You see, what we're learning here, you guys, is if you're in a relationship that is constantly dealing with drama, up and down, back and forth, you're dealing with a person that you cannot help. Look at how many teams this man has gone through. Look at how many people spent millions of dollars, coddled this man, worked with this man, did everything in their power to help him maintain himself so he could contribute to their team. This is no different than what we do in relationships. We constantly keep trying to resuscitate the relationship or change the person or give them the benefit of the doubt. When a person tells you who they are, listen. This man was constantly seeking narcissistic supply, from the feet to the helmet. Always a drama, always a problem, always a victim. Do you see the pattern here of narcissistic supply and always being a victim and having a grievance with someone? This is textbook narcissism.
Raiders with a new helmet. Number 3, leaking recorded phone call with John Gruden. Amid rumors that the Raiders were going to cut ties with Brown, the All-Pro wideout published a video on YouTube that included a recorded phone call between him and Coach Gruden. The video includes Gruden asking Brown to quit with the antics and to just play football. In this instance, Brown seemed to forget about Johnny Law. In the state of California, it's illegal to record phone calls without the consent of all parties. That carries a maximum 1-year jail sentence in the state. Luckily for Brown, Gruden approved of the video and actually loved it. Plus, Gruden's probably too nice of a guy to press charges against a former player of his. Still, it was a weird thing for Brown to do, and it was weird to post the video since he forced the Raiders to release him shortly after it was published. Number 2, challenging Mike Mayock. The Raiders hired Mike Mayock to take over as their new GM at the end of the 2018 season. He and Gruden traded for Brown in the offseason, and they even awarded the star receiver with a $50 million contract that included $30 million guaranteed. But Brown created so much unnecessary drama during his brief stint with the Raiders. The boiling point took place just days before the start of the Raiders season. According to a report from Josina Anderson of ESPN, Brown confronted Mayock after being hit with a fine. AB called Mayock a and angrily shouted at him. Multiple Raiders had to step in and hold Brown back. Mayock was reportedly calm and tried to ease the tension. Brown would apologize and looked ready to finally play Raiders football. However, he took to Instagram and demanded that the Raiders release him. They fulfilled his request, and Brown was signed by the New England Patriots shortly after. Not the most mature way to orchestrate your exit from a team, but anyway.
You see, as empaths, we always want to help people. And as codependents, we need to help people. That is our sickness. We've been programmed to put people before us. We've been programmed to think that we can actually change, save, and/or help people when we cannot. The only thing that we can do is to take good care of ourselves. You have witnessed a narcissist going from team to team. Powerful man with billions of dollars trying to do right by this young man, and all that he did was shit in their mouth time and time again, and even losing millions of dollars. That's what makes this illness, this evilness, so bizarre. They will do things that will destruct and destroy their own life. They will lose good people, kick good people like yourself out of their lives. All just for the need of narcissistic supply or to do evil. It is bizarre.
Police call incident. We previously discussed AB's incident when he called the police about the missing Rolls-Royce in April of 2018. Well, that was only one of the handful of strange events involving Brown and the Sunny Isles Beach Police Department. According to a police report, Brown called them in April 2018, claiming that $80,000 and a pistol were missing from his apartment in Florida. On a separate occasion, Brown called police and complained about the apartment security personnel, accusing them of setting him up. An angry Brown reportedly threw furniture from the 14th floor balcony, nearly hitting a 22-month-old child in the process. The family of the young boy filed a lawsuit against Brown and outlined that Brown only missed the child and the grandfather by a couple of feet. The owner of the apartment building also sued Brown for destroying the property. You really can't make this stuff up.
You see, the pattern continues. Another perfect example of what I believe is a malignant narcissist seeking narcissistic supply and doing whatever they feel like to get it. This is where they lack empathy. He threw furniture out of a 4-story, 5-story window, knowing that people are walking and driving by, almost killed a grandfather and his grandchild. That is a perfect example of someone who lacks empathy, doesn't get it. Another example of a person that thinks that they can do whatever the hell they want to anybody at any time to fulfill their need for narcissistic supply. This is what you have to understand when you're constantly arguing with someone. They are getting narcissistic supply from you. Even when they're crying, even when they're begging you to stay. It is the conflict itself that is feeding their need for evil and destruction. Does that make sense?
Has taken that away from Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown will no longer compete no matter what. Antonio Brown will no longer do whatever it takes to win football games on the grass because he just showed you that he'd quit on his team. He just showed you that he'd walk off without his pads, not caring about his teammates. And I think there were a lot of things that you could come to grips with, or a lot of things you could convince yourself of when it came to Antonio Brown, because he was such a high-level competitor, he was such a high-level athlete, and he produced at such a high level when you gave him opportunities to play. When you do this, no one wants you to be around. No one wants you to be a part of their locker room. No one wants you to be a part of their team.
It's amazing that teams kept accepting this man. Tom Brady allowed this man to move into his home to help mollify the demons that existed in him and to try to get him to a state where he could play football and stay focused without destroying himself and others. It didn't work. Nothing will work. I hear commentators, sports commentators all over the networks talking about he needs therapy, he needs this. He does need help to help him control his demons, but nothing will change this man. This is a personality disorder. That means this is who that person is. Now, he can create multiple different characters, but deep down inside, this is a destructive human being. And our takeaway from this today is that we cannot constantly keep trying to save everyone. As codependents, we are brought up to believe that love, kindness, and affection and attention can change anyone. It cannot. Please understand that. You cannot change this person. It was not your fault that they did the things that they did to you. You had nothing to do with who they are or what they did. These are called the facts. The only thing that you can be responsible for is your own choice and decision to heal. This should help you take your eyes off of the narcissist and put them onto you. It is imperative that you go in and address the issues of the things that make you a codependent and heal the things that happened to you as a child. To heal those inner childhood wounds, to become aware of them, and to not be in denial of them. No pretending. The first step in being fully alive is to want to heal, to commit to heal, not to commit to change the narcissist, understand the narcissist. Put the focus where it belongs, on your healing. Today, I hope this session, this episode, illustrated that you can do everything in the world to help a narcissist, and it will not work. It simply won't work. You can't change these people. You can understand them, you can identify them, and you can maneuver around them. But to try to change them is naive. But the good news is that you can change you. So say this right now for 2022. I can heal, and I'm choosing to heal. I want to laugh again. I want to love again. I want to live again. Take back all of the things that the narcissist took away from you. And that can only happen if you put the focus on you with no pretending. Examine your childhood. Take a close look at your parents, your siblings, your friends, your in-laws, your cousins, every person that's been around you, and see, were they contributing to your life or were they contaminating it? And then look at your own behavior and see if you're contributing to your life or contaminating it. I hope you enjoyed this episode, you guys. I really appreciate you being here. I'm so glad that you made it to 2022 like myself. I never dreamed of living this long. And not to say that I'm old and ready for the grave, because I'm certainly not. I feel like this is the first time in my life I've been fully alive. So thanks for stopping in, you guys. And again, Happy New Year. I got nothing but love for you. I'm Darren Green. This is Fully Alive. And until next time, take good care of yourself.